Hey guys, Buzzsaw Gaming here. Hanging out with my retro gaming buddy, Mr. Buzzsaw and Zelda enthusiast. Here to talk to you about my top 5 for Nintendo 64 with Zelda Ocarina of Time, playing on the Sony CRT Trinitron TV right there. Anyways, this console has a special place in my heart, really because I grew up with, cartridge-based games. I mean, first was Color Computer 2 for me. That was second generation. Third generation, a big upgrade to the original Nintendo. Then later on came Super Nintendo and TurboGrafx. And by the 5th generation, I was sticking with the carts. That's why I have Atari Jaguar and Nintendo 64, the two cartridge-based systems left in the 5th generation. And Nintendo 64, this was my third Nintendo console right here. So, absolutely love it. I was there from the beginning. You know, I was already an adult. I had my first job, and believe it or not, my first job, I worked in a video rental store. So renting VHS movies, as well as video games, and Nintendo 64 was there. So I was there from the beginning. Absolutely loved it. Over there I have the rental case for my Nintendo 64. It fits in perfectly molded right there with 2 controllers, all the accessories. That's how I house my Nintendo 64 to this day. Now, Nintendo 64 Revolutionary was this controller. A lot of people don't like it, but I like it. I still enjoy it. I think it's the only way to play Nintendo 64 games. And this little guy right here, the Rumble Pack. I mean, before this, that didn't exist. There was no rumbling, no feedback in the controller. So that's something completely new. Something that didn't exist, and Nintendo pioneered that. Along with this goofy controller with a little, stick on there. So, obviously a work in process, but absolutely, loved it. The Nintendo 64 right there. I like the styling of it. It's a cool looking system. I remember the Pikachu system for sale. I remember all the colors for sale, but I just wanted the straight, original, dark gray system. That's the one I gravitated towards. That's the one I liked. So anyways, this is a top 5 for Nintendo 64 with a couple honorable mentions, which I have right here, starting with Quake. I mean, if you're an enthusiast of Wolfenstein and Doom, you're probably like Quake as well. This took it to the next level. Super gory, medieval. It was so much fun to have the nail gun. That was the one thing that was extremely fun in that game. Awesome graphics, absolutely loved it. Quake again was a revolution. After the Doom engine came Quake. So that's an honorable mention right there. And Mario Tennis. I mean, probably one of the best tennis games ever. It's so much fun. It's so cartoony. I mean, you get to see Waluigi and Wario and all these fun characters, and it's just absolutely fun. It's such an easy game to play. It's just hours of fun. Even if you like tennis or don't like tennis, it doesn't really matter. It's just an awesome game. So much fun. I sunk hours and hours into it growing up, so absolutely love it. Absolutely have no complaint whatsoever. Mario Tennis is an honorable mention. Going into the top 5. GoldenEye 007. Now this is the rare case where the movie, everyone forgot about it, but the game is so awesome. It's also made by Rareware, or I can call Rare, not Rareware. And it's just an absolutely awesome, first-person shooter. Again, this typifies Nintendo 64 during that time frame of how they just revolutionized the first-person shooter genre. It's an awesome game with stealth moves and just really for the time. And you gotta imagine this is like 96, 97, around that time frame. mid 90s. I mean, we're just coming off of the, regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo type looking game. So to see something like this was awesome. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely awesome as well. So loved it so much. Number 4, Command & Conquer. I know it's not necessarily considered an N64 game. It's a PC game. It also came out on PlayStation, I believe on Sega Saturn as well during that time. But I have the copy that's on Nintendo 64 right here. So absolutely loved it. I remember growing up, playing co-op, dial-up modem, Command & Conquer. Just absolutely love the little army dudes building up your base. You have helicopters and jets and all kinds of stuff. This game was something new. It's just, that time, that mid-90s time, and this was a completely, well, not completely new genre, but it just blew up that genre, that type of military strategy type game. And it has really cool cutscenes. It's just an awesome game. Very cheesy 90s humor as well. So Command & Conquer, my number 4 pick for best games of Nintendo 64. Number 3, Super Mario 64. I mean, this game, when it came out, again, it was a launch title for Nintendo 64. It just blew everyone's mind out. I mean, it's just unbelievable to see Mario go from 2D to 3D, and it did it in a wonderful way. It's just the creativity in this game. It's just, I mean, there's dinosaurs in the game. You can fly. You can, shot out of cannons. You got, big giant enemies. It's just absolutely amazing. The castle is cool. There's so many hidden areas. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You can swim underwater. Just so many cool things you can do in this game that you couldn't do in the prior Super Mario 1 and 2 and 3 and Super Mario World. It just took it to the next level, and absolutely awesome. Just the power of the Nintendo 64. Again, a 64-bit console, so I just like these 64-bit consoles, I guess. 64-bit cartridge-based consoles are my favorite, looks like. Anyways, absolutely awesome. Loved it. Just so much character, so much charm. There's nothing like it. I mean, absolutely awesome. Loved it. Number 2. Conker's Bad Fur Day. I mean, I remember when this came out. I mean, this was like something that probably will never get made again. It's probably one of the most unique games ever in history, I would say. It just got a lot of really raw humor. So if you're easily offended, it's probably not the game for you. It's definitely not kiddie friendly, but it's an absolutely fun game. Absolutely love it. It's a great game. It's got a really good multiplayer area too. I remember playing multiplayer in this game. A lot of fun. Conker's Bad Fur Day. It's just such a great character. I mean, we don't hear much from Conker anymore, do we? The character pretty much was written off after this. I know later on it came out with a version on Xbox, but a little bit cleaned up graphics, but it's just a different game. Not quite the same level as the Nintendo 64. Again, made by Rare. Absolutely awesome game. I mean, I remember playing this game over and over and over and over again. I couldn't believe that a Nintendo console, a Nintendo system had a game like this. So much fun, so creative. It just highlights the Nintendo 64, and I just love that early 3D charm of these games. It's something unique. I know it's something a lot of people don't like right now, but it's something that I really do enjoy. And I think it's in time, people will realize that, how nostalgic this type of game is. And number 1, you knew this had to be here. If you watched my top 10 games of all time, you knew that Zelda Ocarina of Time was number 1. Absolutely awesome. The only game in my life that I ever pre-ordered. I remember getting it along with the strategy guide for it and just playing it over and over and over again. And actually on this exact setup, I mean, I had the I had the Nintendo 64 set up, and, just like this, and then I had the I had a little cheap TV stand like this, and then the TV. I mean, I had an exact copy of this in the 90s. Unfortunately, I gave it away, but I recently acquired this, actually last year, this CRT for free from an old lady that was just giving it away. I had to drive 100 miles to get it. This cart underneath, I got it for $6 from Goodwill. So I brought it back somehow, or somehow it found a way back to me. Anyway, Zelda Ocarina of Time, so much fun. I mean, I remember just spending hours just in the fishing game. Just in that portion of the game. And you finally have a horse, Epona. It just adds, new aspects to the game. I mean, just a Nintendo 64. I mean, for me, it's a top console for me. One of the best. I mean, along with the original Nintendo, Super Nintendo. So many memories. It was there from the beginning to the end. It was really truly my last Nintendo console too, because after this, I didn't follow Nintendo anymore. I didn't get a GameCube, I didn't get a Wii U, a Switch, none of that. So this was really my last real console for Nintendo at the time. Later in life, I did buy a GameCube, which I absolutely love. But yeah, and that's Mr. Buzzsaw right there. Thank you so much. If you made it this far, please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you don't know what to say, just leave a lizard emoji. We really appreciate it. All your kind comments, and I look forward to responding. Have a wonderful day.